the next. So NPS, NPM, without talking, NPM, we will talk on this now. Simple question you write on this. NPS emerged as a post-NPM model. It is considered as a post-NPM model, giving emphasis on values orientation or democratic values over managerial values. So that way also you can start. Or a simple introduction you can start by this. NPS is a post-NPM development which tries to rebalance public administration by giving emphasis on service orientation in place of steering and customer orientation. This. Then you can write about the body part, and in this body part you write about NPS. NPS, write some its features. Generally people will try to write the 7 principles, but no need to write those 7 principles. Right. NPS gave 7 principles. If you remember, you write it. If you do not remember, write some that you know. This NPS gave 7 principles. Some of them are as follows. This is a way to write. And some of them are as follows means कि जो याद आता है लिख दो. Right. If you start writing 7 principles, you will get stuck with the 7 principles. Isn't it? आप ये लिखोगे, ये छोड़ दोगे, फिर ये लिख दोगे, या आप गलत सेंटेंस लिखोगे. टर्म तो याद रहेगा नहीं, मुश्किल है याद करना. By the time you write means, let's say people memorize for some people, but still it is not needed. But you should know that what those 7 principles were. So some of them we will write, some of them you should write that serve, not steer, value citizen, not customer, value let's say that people, not productivity, right? Act in democratic manner, think strategically, act democratically, accountability is not simple. So whatever let's say characteristics you remember, you write it. But writing these characteristics are not the only thing. Right? The main task starts thereafter. Right? The main demand is this. Main demand is right. तो NPM के बारे में थोड़ा सा आप लिख सकते हो. You can write a bit of NPM की NPM right emerged during 1990s with following characteristics. Its main role is that states should become more regulator and facilitator, steerer rather than rower, right? Which resulted into state rolling back, marketization, privatization, blah blah things. A bit of that you can write, although 10-mark question, even if you do not write, it does not matter. The main focus is NPM, it says steer role, right? Not road, but NPS is talking about serve. This, so you have to write this, not this. We have to compare this and this. So we will not go into this. Steer is basically related to regulator, facilitator. Right? This you have to elaborate. Steer role of state means state should create a facilitatory environment, right? Let's say an empowered environment, right? So that the market can do its business. This market, let's say that it feels that there is a business friendly environment. The role of a state will not be to directly serve to people or something delivered to people. The role of the state will be that do something that result into that creates a catalyst process, that catalyzes the process, that let's say empower the market, means let's say business friendly environment. And then once it is able to create a business friendly environment, then business would be able to serve to people, like say through client and customer orientation. Right. But it was realized that even if a state does a steering role, but still it will not be able to serve people better. Right? Because market alone cannot serve people better. First. Second, all areas do not demand only steering role. Because state has to create also common good in society, public good in society. State is not, let's say, supposed to only create a client area oriented environment. Each and every goods and service cannot be delivered and client oriented. Some goods and services should be delivered through public good oriented, common good oriented. They necessarily should be common good oriented rather than client oriented. Otherwise, we will not be able to establish a society, better society. Right? Because of resources being scarce, resources being critical. Right? And then you need to give an example. Let's take example of COVID crisis. COVID crisis, vaccination. Now government wanted to adopt steering approach. Steering approach that each state will, let's say that deal itself. For each state there can be different rate, and hospitals, let's say private hospitals, you had also manufacturers. The manufacturers, distributors, they will deal among themselves. State will only facilitate it. Right? But what court told? Right? Court told that no, you take full responsibility. Right? And vaccination should be completely free. When vaccination is completely free, then it creates a public good. What is public good? Most of the people get vaccinated. So when most of the people get vaccinated, then it creates a strong resistance against COVID infection in society, which could have not been possible if you go by client-oriented approach. If client-oriented approach means only limited number of people will get vaccines, and when limited number of people get vaccines, then let's say people will not get, means a strong resistance will not be created in society, because to create a strong resistance you need more people to be vaccinated. So similar example you can get in other areas, right? Let's say water supply. The water supply cannot be clientalized. State cannot empower, rather water is a scarce resource. When water is a scarce resource, already you know that how water has become critical. So can we go by, let's say, steering approach? Right. No, water has to be declared as a social good. And when it is a social good, water cannot be commercialized. Right. Basically, health and education, government cannot leave it to market, even if market has its presence. Right. State will have to become more proactive so that it can serve people better. Right. That is called serving rather than steering approach. Right. Because everything cannot be left to steering. Even if steering is working, still some sectors state must be strong and must be proactive. Yes. Otherwise we cannot deliver public good to society. अभी जो चल रहा है डेंगू, you know that lots of people, let's say health, dengue resulting into taking deaths of people, और वो कहीं ना कहीं डेथ ऐसा है कि वो कोविड क्राइसिस से भी वर्स है. कोविड में तो टाइम लगता था, एक हफ्ता, लेट्स से दैट इट टुक ऑलमोस्ट 1 वीक, तो थोड़ा सा टाइम लगता था लोगों को अपने आप को राइट उस चीज के अकॉर्डिंग करने के लिए. डेंगू में तो 2-3 दिन में लोगों का डेथ हो जा रहा है. What it shows? It shows that you see states are facing one after another crisis. Can we leave it to market? Right. You cannot leave it to market. डेंगू का वैसे भी ट्रीटमेंट प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में इतना ज्यादा है कि वो पेशेंट पहले ही मर जाएगा एडमिट होने से पहले. सॉरी टू से दैट. Anyhow, So this is what we have to write about a steering approach in this question, right? With such example, and let me tell that this approach. Therefore, let's say we will not go into criticism. Say that simply we can say hence NPS tries to brings a balance between efficiency and equity. Right? This it tries to give significance to, let's say, ends over means, in which it treats people as ultimate for public administration. This that way we can conclude. So this way, when we are talking.